Especially throughout freshman year, I was super insecure about even saying that I wanted to do physics, because whenever I said it, people would just give me this look. You're doing physics? Like, what? Like, you must be some genius. First off, I don't feel like a genius. I feel like dumb because like I'm having a hard time in my classes. Like I have to come in doing calculus, doing like the lower series because I didn't have a good math or physics background. People are telling me I'm a genius when I don't feel like one. And I'm just like, I don't live up to this perception of a physics major you have. I don't look like one and I don't act like one, like some like skinny white dude who only cares about math and physics. Like that is not me.
My name is McDavis and this is what a symbolic systems major looks like.
My name is Jessica and this is what a mechanical engineer looks like.
My name is Anika, and this is what a computer science major looks like.
I'm Nisal Mohammed Hines, and this is what a physics major looks like. Why did I choose it? I picked up these two physics books. One was called The Fabric of the Cosmos by Brian Greene, and the other was called A Brief History of Time by Stephen Hawking. And I just got so fascinated by these two books, just talking about space and time itself and like reality beyond the five senses, that whether it's at the subatomic level or at the cosmological level. It was just like super fascinating. I didn't know anything about it.
I really liked like logic and math growing up and like in middle and high school.
I had this mentality of like what a computer scientist looked like, and I had an image of what a computer scientist looked like, and I didn't look like a computer scientist.
Last quarter, I decided to take a upper level aeroastro class. I didn't know anyone in the class, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into, and I was one of the first people to get there, and obviously I'm sitting there kind of on my phone, and the next thing I know, I kind of look up and the room is packed, and I noticed that there just weren't a lot of girls in the class.
I think first lecture of CS 107, walking in, and I think I saw 2 black people in the entire class.
I remember sitting down next to my friend who, I looked over her and I said, hey, are we like some of the only girls in this class? Like, this is so weird. No one else kind of seemed fazed by this, which was really interesting to me. I didn't see any of the other girls kind of looking around saying like, this is like, where are all the girls? Like, why are they not here? And so maybe it was a factor of they were older and they had this experience already, but you know, I'm a sophomore and I had never walked into a room and just been acutely aware of the fact that I was one of the only types of my people there.
I am the only black student doing physics in my year, as far as I know.
I think a lot of it was just like not believing in myself coming into like CS, and then a lot of it was like due to like my background and due to my race, to be honest.
If I'm having such a hard time in an intro level class, like how can I even do this major? And then like not seeing people whether it's in my my faculty or like my classes, like, and all of that compounding onto each other made it like very difficult for me, especially in that first year, to decide whether I even wanted to do physics. Like it just felt like I was like barely like stringing along and was just one thread away from just like dropping the major.
It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable not like not seeing people who are like the same like skin color.
I've had people look down on me before for any number of things, especially in the field of engineering.
I had to like cover up like, yeah, a pretty big part of my like personality.
I have to be the example and say, fight the stigmas that are around me.
These things that are like inhibiting my ability to do physics, whether it's like stereotype threat or not having a growth mindset or like culture around physics in general.
They were just not things that I related to or wanted to relate to, but I did them anyway because I thought that's what computer scientists did.
Just looking around the room, it's just like, you know that like you're different and people don't really know how to handle that. Yeah.
I definitely feel like I have to prove myself. I feel like I have to speak up. I have to be louder than the other people, but I can't be too loud. I can't be the one that dominates the conversations.
I had been called an Oreo for being black on the outside and white on the inside because like if you like acted smart or like were smart, then that means like you're basically white. Like I didn't act like whatever they conceived a black person to act like.
It felt like I couldn't like openly ask questions or really like look like I was struggling at all.
Consistently like looking toward like people outside of myself who I thought were smarter, aka people who are not black.
I didn't want to be put in that box. I wanted to be like seen as successful. And then like I hated makeup, I hated dresses, I like hated pretty much everything feminine because it was like, oh, like girls are shallow, like they don't really like, they just like gossip to each other and like pink and stuff. And I'm just like, I'm not about that.
Feeling like I had all these eyes on me, just kind of someone being like, what are you doing here? It made me want to do better in the class, but it also made me afraid to get the help that I needed.
Just all of these parts of my identity I was just like not proud of, and I kind of dissociated myself from them.
I would either try to like be more dominant and more assertive, or I would just like not really want to deal with the situation and kind of like withdraw.
Coming face to face with that discrimination and with kind of those roadblocks that I've been told I was going to face my entire life.
Like even like me with my hair, like I cut my hair last quarter, which was like a big deal for me because I had it straightened since I was like 5, and I always thought like long straight hair was pretty hair, and like to be able to cut it and like be happy about that and like, I don't know, be proud of that, and being like physics and like having a fro, like that's cool. So that was like just like things like that, being more comfortable with myself.
Trying to figure things out, and also believing in who I am, and also believing in other people who were the same like skin color as me, like other minorities, and actually getting help from them as well. I think that was a big thing for me.
I could be the only girl in a room of thousands of people and still only want to do this for myself and not for others.
I think a lot of underrepresented groups come in with less exposure and less people that believe in them.
There is a lot of male dominance in the Stanford faculty.
There's like 8 female faculty and probably like out of like 50 or who knows how many in the physics department. And then in terms of like people of color, like it's even worse. Actually, my first female physics professor was like in an intro sem that I took. And there wasn't any of the actual classes, but an intro sem I took, and that one person is like the reason I'm like still in physics probably.
The most impactful person at Stanford is Sherry. Like I've heard so much about her, and I love what everyone says, and it makes me want to aspire to be like her.
She invited me to work with her over that summer at CERN, and like I was just in absolute shock that she like thought that like I was like worthy to come work with her, because like I just like felt so like a fake physics major, and like I didn't even apply for anything my freshman summer because I didn't think I'd get into anything, and to have her just ask me to come work with her just blew my mind.
You showed me how expensive computer science is.
To hear about the one woman who's like really kind of running everything, and to hear how highly they talk of her has just made me so excited about being here at Stanford and being like a woman in STEM.
She's just been such a great support, and she's helped me feel like I can embrace my space in physics and like be proud of that and not be scared.
I might not be in CS or doing any kind of computer science without him.
People in underrepresented groups are typically like very aware of systems of power, and like being cognizant of that helps you understand systems of nature, and that's a unique perspective that other people who haven't had those experiences don't usually notice.
Understanding like people and how to like use CS in a way that's not just like trying to brute force something and like create tech for the purpose of tech, but actually like trying to use it in a way that is benefiting like a larger population.
Being able to see the world in a different lens allows you to grab a problem and approach it like completely differently.
I think that being able to come from that kind of a background has allowed me to look at intersections more. And not feel as uncomfortable with them as others might.
There's been studies that show that when you have a more diverse group working together, you bring in those different perspectives. That's how we accelerate science.
If you live in like Silicon Valley, the idea of like creating a product seems like a big thing. And if you create a product that appeals to like one set of people, it's just not going to sell. So just being able to like incorporate all different ideas like will make your product a lot more successful and just make you more successful generally.
Given my experience as a woman of color from this small country in the Caribbean, I can contribute something both for myself and for other people.